Hey guys, welcome back to another devlog. It's been a longer gap from the last one than average, but that's because I've had quite a bit to work on, and I wanted to make sure that I had some interesting areas of the game worth talking about. But just before I get into it, I just want to mention that I've set up a Discord for those interested in following the game, my YouTube, or any other projects that I'm working on. I'll be putting up test releases so that you can download and play the latest version of Shield Maidens. You can give feedback, or even share your own projects in this small community. So check the link in the description if you think that's something you'd like to be a part of. The last devlog was all about my art process. Today though, I'm going to get into the kind of features that give a player's efforts a feeling of purpose, so that they know their actions are paying off in some form of progression. We've got the coins that the players collect when running through the Anglo-Saxon lands, but they haven't had a purpose other than to measure how well you're doing before you take that final blow. To begin with, you can now stockpile your gold so that no matter how far you get, you'll always feel like you're getting a little bit closer to paying off that student loan. I'm just kidding, obviously, you'll never pay off your student loan. But what's the point in saving all this hard-earned gold if there's nowhere to spend it? I had thought about giving the player experience instead and have them level up to improve stats, and possibly giving them a skill tree like in Ori and the Blind Forest, but I decided to go with an upgrade shop since I think giving the player gold as a reward instead of experience fits the whole Viking and pillaging theme. I'll come back to the art again at some point too, and set up this scene to look like you're visiting a travelling salesman at your camp or something similar. Currently, you can get a health increase upgrade, which does exactly what it says on the tin, or the strength upgrade, which will increase your shield throw's launch force, which essentially increases damage since the health taken from the enemy is measured by the velocity that the shield hits them at. And finally, a couple of runes belonging to both mythological Norse clans, the Aesir and the Vanir. The Aesir are known for being powerful and battle tested and contain members like Thor and Odin. So when you own this rune, the player will have a chance to strike the enemy with a bolt of lightning when hitting them with their shield. The Vanir, on the other hand, are known better as farmers or for their fertility, so I thought it was more fitting to grant a chance to heal on an enemy's death. I figured this would be a really good time for me to start figuring out what I can actually do with the Unity particle system. So for those who don't know what this is, essentially it's a tool to generate procedural animations, and so far I think it's pretty awesome. For the lightning, I've created this tile set after watching DuckView FX's tutorial. It's a super simple version and only 4 frames, but I'm not going to spend too long on the art right now because I end up getting carried away and wasting hours trying to perfect it. The way I've got this working was by using the texture sheet animation section, setting the mode to grid, setting animation to use the whole sheet, and finally fixing the frame over time to curve. Now, there's probably a better way of doing this, but like I said, I just want to get this working without jumping down that rabbit hole. Also, I should mention, if you're trying to do the same and you can't see where the sprite needs to go, you just need to drag it into the inspector and Unity will automatically create a material for you. Finally, to get this working in the game, I placed the lightning prefab as a child under each of the NPCs, and then when throwing the shield, it rolls for a chance to activate that lightning effect, and if the player owns the rune, the enemy will be stunned and struck with a bolt of lightning. The health siphon, on the other hand, I figured out by using the circle shape and reversing the speed so that the health particles appear to flow inwards towards the player rather than away. For this, I drew a simple health icon just so it was clear what was happening, and then I set the size over lifetime to start small and finish big. This one actually felt easy to set up as well, because I didn't need to manually mess around as much with how the animation was going to appear. To activate this skill, the particle system object sits as a child to the player prefab this time, but is triggered from the enemy script when they die. It checks that the player owns the relevant rune, and finally RNGs for a chance to heal the player. I won't get into super technical details any more than that though, because I don't want to overwhelm people who don't use Unity or understand how the particle system works by bombarding them with irrelevant information. One thing I've decided I'm going to improve upon in these devlogs is balancing what a feature is and explaining how it was done, because ultimately I don't class these as tutorials and I'd love to get people excited about playing the game when it's ready. That being said though, if I ever do go over something you want to know more about, please say so in the comments, because I would love to nerd out and make some tutorials for other passionate developers like myself. One thing that eludes me every time I let somebody playtest my game is that they haven't spent thousands of hours running through pillage mode like I have. So to even out the playing field, I've gone with 3 game modes so even your pet monkey can play, just not with a Neuralink. There's easy, normal and hard mode, and with this players will be rewarded more depending on the challenge they decide to take up. There's also 3 save slots in case you want to try the next level up with the flexibility of going back to easy if you're not good enough yet. You can now also save or load your game progress so that there's no need to worry about losing all that gold you've just pillaged. Along with the gold, it will save the upgrades you've purchased, which mode you're playing in, and at some point I'll throw in some fun stats in there as well, along with 8 missions or a story mode. What's exciting about this to me is that with a savable progression system, the missions part of the game has countless possibilities, potentially even turning this into a completely different game. I thought about whether this could be a story mode, maybe a bunch of random fun maps that you'd have to unlock with gold, or even just a blend of the two. It isn't completely decided upon at this moment, but I do hope to use it as an opportunity to test possible directions and share it with you all. A couple last things that I want to add about the game. I've changed the mage skin and give him an animation. I plan to go through all my characters and give them the full treatment so they appear to move around a bit more fluidly and less robotic. And I've added a double jump. This was easy to do and primarily done just to add to the game feel. I want running around this world to feel fun, and realistic gravity just isn't for this game. Finally, check out that Discord server. I want to create a community of people interested in aiding along the development of this game, and I'll be allowing access for people to download and beta test its current state. You can network with other devs or people just interested in the game, and even share your own content, because that's what communities are for. I'll put a link for that in the description, so remember to check it out after you've liked and subscribed.